Bulls finally do something smart and sign Yuki Kawamura to a two-way contract, but is it the right move? Me and Pat are going to discuss that. Plus, the Golden State Warriors apparently still are hoping for a sign and trade with the Bulls, with Io being the target for Jonathan Kuminga. We'll discuss our thoughts on all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host, creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. We got a number of things to get into today. Yuki Kawamura has officially been signed to a two-way deal to do this. The Chicago Bulls have waived Jameer Young off his two-way contract to sign in Yuki Kawamura. How do you feel about the deal? And how do you feel about the Bulls waiving Jameer to make that happen, considering that Jameer Young averaged over 21 points per game, a steal and a half, a block per game last year for the Windy City Bulls?
We talked about this. How does it impact the development of players? I don't need Jameer Young to develop. There's no spot on this team for you. There's no spot on this team really for Yuki. And I know people are going to take this to the two-way deal. He's going to play he's going to be with the Windy City Bulls all year. He's going to have some games at the end of the year where he sits on the bench. It's going to be very nice. It's going to be good to see him. Maybe he gets into to the end of some games, right? But if Yuki Kawamura is playing, things have gone wrong.
Yeah.
Like, we know that, right? Like, it's okay. Like, if Yuki's playing, everyone else is dead. Kobe's dead. Giddey's dead. Io's dead. He may be traded. I mean, Trae Young is dead. Dalen Terry's dead. You know how many people got to die for Yuki to get in the game?
Are you always killing people, bro? What is your obsession with? I'm going to start calling you Jigsaw. You've grown an obsession with killing people over the last couple of months.
That's how I describe it, dog. Like, it's how I describe it. As I always have. But no, like, the thing for me is, at the G League level, though, who's going to be able to help young players develop the most? If Noah Essenge is down there, if the Lachlan Albrecht is down there, right? Who's going to help them be the best version of themselves? The guy that's going to continue to put them in good positions with the ball in their hands. That's Yuki Kawamura. And I think what it also does is, right, you're pairing up a player and getting those guys used to playing with a guy who is a pass-first mindset, who is hey, you have to look for this pass, because if you come play at the NBA level, when you come play at the NBA level, hopefully for both of these guys in Albrecht and Essenge, you're going to be playing with a pass-first point guard that wants to get you the ball and put you in the best position for you to succeed. He sees the floor very well. I think that, to me, is the big reason to keep Yuki, and I'm glad he's on the team.
Yeah, and I think people got to remember this. When we originally got Jameer Young, that was to replace Javon Freeman-Liberty in the G League team, because he was not here. He was in Toronto. So you already have a scorer to replace Jameer Young, who's not on a two-way, who's just on a G League contract in Javon Freeman-Liberty. So Yuki brings something that you don't have to this team, that's actual point guard play. I love that he actually, you can simulate what you're doing with your regular roster in the G League with Yuki as your point guard. He's actually a pretty decent rebounder, being the smallest player on the court at 5'8". Amazing passer, can get out in transition, and he actually can stretch the floor and shoot the three ball. So to your point, what he offers in helping not only get Noah Essenge, even Lachlan Albrecht, anybody that we sound down to the G League to get used to the Bulls' actual style of play, he also can develop those players. Yeah. Noah Essenge cannot create his own shot yet. You don't need to as much with Yuki Kawamura there, who already had some pretty decent chemistry with Noah Essenge as well. So those are the things that you have to look at, and I think are smart. That's what's smart about what the Bulls did here. For so long, Pat, me and you are two of the people that I know actually watch a large chunk of G League games. The Bulls' style of play in G League was completely different from how we were playing on the roster, the main roster. Now with Yuki there, you can do that same system. You already got Billy Donovan III there. Now you got a point guard who can run that. I love this. I think when you look at Noah developing, Josh Primo developing, Lachlan Albrecht developing, that you have a guy now in Yuki who can run that offense. And I can never be mad at it. I think this is a smart deal by AK.
Yeah, listen, I keep saying this, like, AK making the right decisions this offseason. Now, I can't speak for what he's done his entire life here, but like this offseason right now, I like the decision making that he's doing, and I think this maybe even has a little bit more to do with Billy Donovan, and maybe even Billy Donovan Jr. who got the third, Billy Donovan the third. Billy Donovan's Billy Donovan Jr. Right? I don't know how this works. But the Billy's son, Billy, down in the G League, seeing this and saying, "Hey, this is a style of play that works to help translate this." One thing I do want to ask though, do you feel like Noah starts off in the G League? We keep saying that and we keep talking about the development. Is he actually are you going to send your number 12 overall pick to the G League?
I mean, Modest started in the G. So I think there's a chance that but Modest played 2 games in the G League before they're like, oh yeah, go ahead and come up. I think he's going to start off the season in the G League. How many games he plays, that's a story for another day. But I think a lot of that comes down to Noah himself. How do you come into training camp and how much does your defense, because the offense we all know is a work in progress, right? But even then, we talked about how he can help the team offensively. But how much of Noah's defense does Billy Donovan look at and his coaches staff look at and say, no, we need him up here? That's no key for that. I think that, and because there's no expectations for P. Will, but if P. Will looked at this offseason and finally he's like, I decided to wake up and play, which we've been saying that for 5 years now. But he's going to be Noah's going to be competing with 4 minutes with Julian, Dalen, and him, and P. Will, just for the name being in there too. Yeah. And we'll see who comes out of it in training camp.
I think it's going to be so interesting to see that dynamic, because it almost feels like Noah is just taking over the P. Will, spot on this team. I think in a lot of people's mindsets, if he does develop down in the G League quickly enough and he comes up here and he's playing well defensively at a minimum, but P. Will is playing well, do you look at P. Will as now it's time to trade him because he's playing well, or do you look at P. Will as we finally started unlocking him?
Yes, you move him. No, we got no S and G. I'm not worried about if P. Will if P. Will puts together a solid month of basketball.
Yeah,
I am on the phone with everybody who wants him.
A month, just a month.
Look, we've seen it before, bro. Seriously, we've seen the hot month from P. Will. We've seen the month and a half from P. Will. We've seen the 5-game stretch from P. Will. At this point, I'll be here to admit, P. Will there's still room for P. Will to turn it around and turn into a decent NBA player that has a 10, 11-year career.
Yeah.
But at some point, you got to be okay with that not being here. And I'm okay with that not being here anymore.
You've turned into me with Lonzo.
That's basically where we are. And I think for people who've watched us for so long, we had our battles. There were times where I was all in on P. Will. I'm like, no,
P. Will guy. He need the shots. He need this. I don't know.
At this point now, it's just it's too far gone, bro. You're going into year 6? We're going into year 6 with P. Will?
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, he would be the anomaly of anomalies if he finds a way to turn this thing around.
I'm done.
You've been literally, I guess, the pinnacle of consistency, right? 9-4, 9-4, 10-4, 10-4, 9-4. Great 4th overall pick. But no, man, I think this season is all about the development of Modest, development of Yuki, and development of Noah Essengay. And I think Yuki provides a great opportunity for that. I'm very excited to see what he's going to be able to bring to the Windy City Bulls. And he'll make the Windy City Bulls exciting. I gotta ask you this: did you tap into any of the TBT over the weekend? The basketball tournament?
Oh yeah.
Why is it so much more packed than G League? Hey, bro, the NBA,
you know what it is though too. I think when it comes to G League, also the NBA doesn't market G League
at all, bro.
The NBA, I really do feel if the NBA marketed G League as its own thing, not saying hey, come to watch the future NBA stars, because we all know a lot of that ain't happening. But if they actually marketed the G League, I do think that more people would show up to it and be invested in it. But the NBA has basically made this G League thing hey, it's the secret society that only nerds know about, and you may see a guy come up on the NBA roster every once in a while.
Bro, I was sitting there watching Montrezl Harrell do hezzy in and outs as he drove to the basket to finish the lane. And I was like, what the heck am I watching right now? Clearly, this league, it also shows you the difference between NBA players and the rest of the world. But clearly this league is not, or this tournament is not the best of the best. I was like, G League players are better than this.
Exactly.
And we will not pack out a G League stadium at all. I've been to a Windy City Bulls game. It's very empty. They hear you on the court. You talk trash to the Windy City Bulls game, somebody look at you and be like, shut your dumb ass up.
Bro, I've been to a Windy City Bulls game where legitimately, bro, it's you in a whole row by yourself. You're just like,
hey, you just
okay. You can lay out, take a nap at halftime, bring your blanket. Nobody's going to say nothing.
Bro, I've been on the floor of the Windy City Bulls game. I was like, I might as well get in and play. Like,
but nonetheless, all right. So that's it on Yuki Kawamura, who signed his two-way deal with the Chicago Bulls. But next up, we're going to be talking about Golden State Warriors. Reportedly, according to Brett Siegel, the Golden State Warriors are still holding out hope for a sign and trade with the Bulls, with Dosunmu being the target. We'll talk a little bit about that. But first, we got to get to the message from Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. One thing that Monarch Money also does, the special, is that you can track shared and personal accounts. So that way, if you are managing money with your partner, you guys can see everything and still build your goals together as well. Take control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. So Brett Siegel had a series of tweets in regards to the Bulls. Well, the Bulls got involved in that. He was asked about Kuminga and what's going on there, and he mentioned how basically they're in the same contract situation as the Bulls. The Jonathan Kuminga wants more like $30 million. The Golden State Warriors are more around $20 million, but the Warriors are still hoping for a sign and trade with the Chicago Bulls, and Dosunmu being the target there. Now, I have my thoughts on it. I have a whole episode on it over on Central, so I wanted to turn it over to you first on this one, Pat. How do you feel about Kuminga and still being, hoped for by the Warriors coming to the Bulls and Ayo being their preferred target?
If the Bulls were to do that deal, at least in my mind, I don't think the fit works on the team, right? Yeah, mm-hmm. I've said that multiple times. You're kind of having a conversation on, are we going to re-sign Ayo and Kobe White? I wonder if that would be, hey, for a year, Kuminga's here, and then after that, we want to move him, and we feel he's a better asset to move than Dosunmu in the long run. You can get more back for Kuminga because people see the upside. Because there's no, I still maintain this, there is no fit here that makes sense for me with Kuminga. Kuminga, Modest Buzelis, Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Noah Essengay lineup, I would assume at some point, like that does not entice me at all. That's a lot of standing around and not running with the ball. Now, if Jonathan Kuminga changes his game a little bit, I guess, and wants to be more of a run and gun type of player, wants to be on, the wing and have those moments where he's spotting up, but is kind of just a cog in the machine here, maybe it can work in that sense. I can't say exactly what he's going to be, but like, Kuminga's at his best when he literally gets to, I got the ball in my hand, let me face up, let me hit you with this jab, now get past you, finish at the rim. Or let me hit you with this jab, you bite on the jab, I pull up, bucket. That's when Jonathan Kuminga's at his best. That's a ball stopper in this offense. You just watched an offense last year that doesn't work with ball stoppers in it because they were force feeding the ball to Zach LaVine. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make sense in my mind to go back to that. So if you were to do a sign and trade here, it would be because you feel like you're going to get more for Kuminga in the long term than you are going to get for Ayo when you eventually trade him, basically knowing this is not going to be the long-term piece here.
I'd never thought about it. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a completely different angle than I've ever heard it talked about, is that if you're getting Kuminga for Ayo, it means you think you can get more for Kuminga in the long term. I don't know if AK's ever thought that far in advance.
Am I giving him too much credit?
Yeah, I think you may be giving him a little too much credit, bro. But I agree with basically everything. And not that I disagree with the point that you made there on the more value. I just have never thought about it from that angle. I just don't know where the fit for Kuminga is at this point anymore on this Bulls team. Like, your forward rotation is locked. Like both now and in the future. And I do think getting a player like Jonathan Kuminga actually takes shots away from the players that you're trying to develop.
Yep.
Getting Kuminga would be a move if the Bulls were all in and already a playoff team and they were trying to get over the hump to become like an Eastern Conference Finals team. Like, we don't have anything we're still establishing who we are as a team. And then I also think about this part. Having Kuminga, Kobe, and Josh Giddey, 3 players who are probably all going to be over $30 million, all players that have their own struggles in the half court part of the offense. That is a dangerous proposition to lock yourself into that court in any type of way, which I have some issues with. So I don't see where this makes sense. And again, I know that that Brett Siegel is somebody who, you know, he has insiders, but I don't know if this is like old information, because like it seems like everything from what the Bulls have shown us with their roster moves, this has moved on. Unless Vooch is back in and they're back in on Nikola Vucevic, which is not something that he said as part of this report. Yeah. I just don't see how this works out for both teams.
I kind of look at this as a, you know, do you bring him in and he's a completely different player? And maybe, but then what are you bringing him in at, right? Like that's kind of the tough conversation you got to have. Oh, by the way, you got to pay him.
Yeah, now. You
got to pay him now. Like, it's not like we got to pay him. We ain't got the Josh Giddey deal worked out yet. Maybe this week we'll talk about that coming up. Yeah. But like, we don't even have the Josh Giddey deal worked out yet, and you gonna go get another restricted free agent? Like,
you want to double down on what we're going through right now? That's what you want to do?
Hey, you know what we're struggling at? Here's 2 more for you.
It just does not seem like it makes sense for where the Bulls are right now, but we shall see. Another part that Brett Siegel did mention in this as well, though, Pat, is that from what he's heard, the Bulls have no interest in trading Kobe White. How do you feel about that part?
I mean, I kind of can see that part being a little bit more. You've developed it. I think for us as Bulls fans, we're very much going, was the second half of last season real? For AK, he's probably looking at it and saying, hey, they worked through a lot of things and they actually got to a point where they were a really competitive tandem. What they're like the best. They had a stat last year. I don't remember what it was.
Kobe and Giddey? They were Kobe and Giddey. It was like the third best or something like that.
Like third best, like duo in the fourth quarter, something like that, where it was like, oh, okay, they've gotten over the hump of this. You know, let's try and keep that together. I think that tracks for AK and how he's built these teams. I don't know if that's the move that I would go. I would rather have Ayo than Kobe. I've said this a ton because I think Ayo is more of a piece that you want when you're winning. I think that Kobe's skill set is replaceable. And if you want to keep Kobe, that's fine. But to me, that doesn't mean go out and get rid of Ayo Dosunmu.
Yeah.
Like, you find a way to pay them both. And Kobe's numbers are going to dictate a lot more than Ayo's numbers are going to dictate as far as pay wise as well, right? Like, Kobe's probably going to be in the $25 to $30 million range.
Well, Josh Giddey's signing 30. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're probably looking at 25, 30, 35 for Kobe White too.
Ayo Dosunmu is going to be living in that Patrick Williams range.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, you can keep both of them and be very fine. Is my point in that. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I'm not I think Kobe is a replaceable piece that I would have definitely taken those 2 first-round picks for. But hey, what the heck do I know? You know what I mean? Hey, but to finish this thing off, appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. Let's talk about this Giddey deal, dog. There's a lot going on with this Giddey deal that still has not been done. We'll talk about that and more coming up next. I hit the right one this time.
Look at you. That's perfect. Well, Pat, Josh Giddey's deal is still not done. We've heard a lot over the weekend of conflicting things. So much so that the Bulls are at $20 million. We talked about that on Friday, like the $10 million difference. We heard over the weekend too that it could be a shorter deal because of the gap that they're on money wise, where maybe you end up seeing Josh Giddey sign for 3 years rather than the full 5 or even 4, things like that. Like, the question I want to ask you, Pat, is that are we going to see a conclusion to this? Like, we're getting more and more details. It's all making sense in different places. Do we finally get a Giddey deal done this week?
Not if you steal $10 million apart.
Yeah,
the $10 million is a lot. That's a lot. Like, you gonna pay me like Patrick Williams? Nah, Bulls gonna have to come up. And I think what makes me wonder about this is it seems like AK is so from everyone that has reported this, they're dug in on that number.
Yeah.
Like they are like, no, we're not moving. Like this is where we're at right now. We're closer to 20 million. You're at 30 million. We're nowhere near that. Hey, 27.5, 25. Like, no, we're sitting here at this 20 million. This is what we got for you. And playing a little bit of hardball. I do wonder about, I've said this multiple times. There's going to have to be a give and take from both sides. Pause. That's crazy. There's going to have to be a give and take from both teams here as far as the Giddey side and the Bull side of this, because they're the only way you're going to get to a resolution on this deal is if you go out there and you get 30 mil. Okay, you want your 30 mil, bet we're signing you 3 years, or you want 25 mil, bet we'll sign you 4 years, whatever it is, where it's like the Bulls find a way to give up something, but they also keep the player in-house. So I don't know how this is going to resolve, but if you're still $10 million apart, it's not going to be done this year. $10 million is way too much to be sitting there just giving up and saying, yeah, I'll take the 20 million. Like, and Pat Williams is here for 19. Ain't no way.
Yeah, and I think people like 10 million. If it was 10 million over the life of the contract, that's easier to come. 10 million per year is quite a lot of money per year to be difference on, right? Like, so I agree with you there. That's a pretty large gap. And I don't even think, even if you use incentives, you can't quite get there if that's the gap that you're at, right? So yeah. I think that they would have to get to a point to where they agree to about 25. And then the incentives can push it to that point, maybe 28, something like that. That's probably what you're looking at. But you have to get to. I would tell me if you disagree. I think you have to get to the point whatever you're giving up years, whatever it is. But you got to get to the point at least 25, 26. I would think.
100%. You got to be. I've said 25 million is probably the point that gets this thing done, and I would think that. I understand Giddey is kind of in the $30 million range, but I think he also understands this is probably one of the better contracts I'm going to get right now. I want the money. Let me get this 30 M's, or let me get this 25 M's and move forward. From everything that I'm hearing and how it sounds, it seems like the Bulls are the one that are like 25 is crazy, dog. Like we're sitting here like 21. What you got for us? Yeah, I mean, like, and I'm not gonna lie, that's nuts. I understand it. I understand the, there's nobody else really that can pay him or that's gonna pay him this offseason. You're trying to get him on a discount, but that is how you burn a bridge.
That absolutely is. And that's the part that I'm worried about, is burning that bridge, because if Giddey comes in here and balls out, which clearly the Bulls still think that there's a possibility, because the Bulls want to keep him. They just have their number. If he comes in here and balls out, and then like in 2 years you're back up, like he's not going to forget that. You're going to have to reap that, my boy. So
I think the thing is too, right? Like this is the other thing. Everybody's so focused on this contract. Let Josh Giddey come in here and be the dude that he was at the second half of last season, where he's 24 points a game, 8 and 8. You're going to be 2 years into that deal having to renegotiate Josh Giddey's contract. So this is not this is the last contract, or that. The one thing that I love about contracts now is none of them are going to get to the final year of it, unless you're old.
Well, I mean, if you don't have an option, then you get to the final year of it. But I get what you're getting at for sure.
Well, usually, like when you're now, the Bulls just haven't had one of these dudes in a long time. But like if you're playing at a high level, usually you can come back to the table and say, "Hey, yeah, we got reworked it. I gave y'all the discount on that so that y'all can get through the summer of 26, which you're so tingly about. But we got reworked this now because I'm putting up 25, 8 and 8. Like y'all not playing with me. Let's get this money right." And you come back to the table, you get it done. We see that happen in the NBA and NFL, MLB not really, because they just basically just print them money. But like those are the things that I think where this deal could get done. Do you get to a next deal with Josh Giddey if you kind of burn that bridge? Probably not. You'll probably see Giddey get his value up and go somewhere else. That's not a great situation for you to be in either.
And not when you're trying to get out of being mid for as long as you have been. So, and we'll see what happens. Like I said, I understand the Bulls' point is that if you can get Josh Giddey cheaper because of the market, you try to get Josh Giddey cheaper because of the market. But to your point, that's only going to hold out so long, because there's going to be a point where you're going to have to pay for it eventually. So we'll see. Overall, I hope that this can get just over and done with sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
That way, everybody can just focus that point on preparing. The coaching staff can focus on getting and everybody can just get ready for training camp, because that's what we need to do. We need to lock in this season. And, not to say there's a lot of expectations on the Bulls, but, you won 39 games last year. You've made refinements and brought in some things that you needed for as far as defensively. You're hopefully going to get some players back healthy that weren't healthy last year. And the goal should be, in my opinion, is 500 this year. So you can't get to that if you're still worrying about contracts heading into freaking September. Like, let's get this done.
I tell you this right now, what's going to piss me off? It's the only thing. If we have all this conversation and they announce the Giddey signing,
and it's 30 million?
Like, it's 32 million, because I can see him going high. It'll piss me off so bad, bro. I be like, I hate this dude, bro. Like,
that's where I'd be like, CAK, you're stupid. You're just dumb. You're stupid. Exactly. Like, what? If the deal is announced and it's more than 30 million AAV, everybody collectively, every Bulls podcaster should be able to kick AK in the nuts. Just line up and just kick one kick in the nuts. But thank you for the month of content, I guess, my boy. I don't know.
We got plenty of content to talk about, but my God, I could fully see AK just like, we wanted to really get him his full value. Tried to talk us down, but talk you down. What were you at 40? Like,
no, you know what AK would say? He'd be like, you know what? We went to the negotiating table. We wanted to see how much Josh really believed in himself. When we saw that he believed in himself, he wasn't backing down for the 30. We figured we'd give him 32. That's what AK would say.
It'd be so insane, bro. I'd be as disappointed as Shea when he sees steps. Hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer.
I heard that Shea had to give a paternity test for one of the unmanned lawnmower machines. They need to give him a paternity test for that. Locked On Bulls, you guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, and Fubo TV. Basically, anywhere you want us, you can get it. We can see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, y'all. Peace.
Shea can't type fast enough. He mad. He dropped his phone. He pull up to a flight of steps, be like, my old nemesis.